Welcome back for part two. I'm going to set up my screen here. We just got done talking about sleep and the importance of sleep, and hopefully, you're going to set some goals if need be to improve the quality of your sleep. So, now we'll move into the second part of this module, and we're going to talk about this concept NEAT. We've brought up NEAT. NEAT is non exercise activity thermogenesis. I'm going to draw my little diagram here one more time. And so this circle represents, you can't see it very well, I'll draw it on this guy. This circle represents total daily energy expenditure. So if you burn 2,000 calories today, what caused that? Okay, what did you do or not do that contributed to those calories? Well, the biggest component of total daily energy expenditure is resting metabolic rate. And then after that, the biggest component would be our physical activity. But in all reality, physical activity can be divided into two different components. We really, if I'm doing this right, need to combine or need to separate that out and say we have exercise. Let's say exercise. And then we have just physical activity, which would be not exercise. Exercise is anything planned with a purpose that is repetitive. So if you plan on going to the gym, that's exercise. If you plan on jogging, that's exercise. But what about all the other bodily movements throughout the day? That's just physical activity, or the term that I'll be using from here on out, it's non-exercise activity thermogenesis, or NEAT. Non-exercise is not exercise. It is activity. In thermogenesis, we're talking about heat production or calories, right? Or NEAT, so NEAT. This is important because even the most avid exercisers only exercise 60 minutes a day, maybe 5 to 7 days a week, but there's 24 hours in a day. All of the other physical activity in that 24-hour period cannot be ignored, okay? So that's NEAT. So let's talk about the role of NEAT in obesity and weight management. So James Levine is a researcher. He's out of the Mayo Clinic in Phoenix. He's the one that coined this term. And what he did, and I'm using his term, his vernacular here, he created this quote, quote, magical underwear. Essentially, it was spandex that he put sensors all throughout these spandex bottoms and tops, so that when people moved, he had a very, very accurate assessment of movement. This is very similar to your wristwatch. If it's a smart watch and it tells you how many calories you're burning, it knows that because of accelerometry. You move your arm and you're accelerating, and it puts this in an algorithm and tells you how many calories you're burning. There's downsides to the wristwatch, though. If I'm riding a bike where I'm holding my handlebars, my wristwatch says that I'm not moving, but I am. I'm exercising, right? And if I'm standing, my wristwatch says I'm not doing anything, but standing is more energy than sitting. And so that's why he put spandex or these sensors in the legs and the arms. He put them everywhere. And so what he did in this first study that I'm showing you is he overfed these young men by 1,000 calories per day. This is the best research to do on college campuses. Young men, if I'm like, hey, come do this study, I'm going to give you 1,000 calories of crap, junk food, I don't even have to pay them. They're like, all right, I'll do it. So he did this. He overfed them 1,000 calories a day above. This is overfed them. So above what they needed. They did this for 8 weeks. And what they found is there were some, so they all ate the same thing, okay? They found that some people gained tons and tons of weight. Some of these guys didn't gain any weight. What he found was the thing that explained this tenfold difference in weight gain was NEAT. Some people, when they started eating a lot more spontaneously, and they weren't allowed to go to the gym and exercise, they spontaneously moved more. It was spontaneous. They stood more, they paced more, they fidgeted more. Some people, they started eating more, they didn't change that behavior at all. So this NEAT concept is extremely important to dictate if we're going to gain weight or we're really caring about lose weight. We know that there are huge differences between NEAT, between obese and lean individuals. Same researcher, James Levine, he wanted to be able to identify NEAT differences between obese and lean. So he gave them his magical underwear and he let them wear it for 10 days. And what he found is between obese and lean individuals that they spend about the same amount of time lying down, But obese individuals spend way more time sitting than lean individuals, and lean individuals spend way more time standing or ambulatory, meaning walking around. So he published this, and some people said, well, maybe the reason that the obese sit more is because it's harder for them to stand. That's valid, right? Standing takes more energy. They're bigger. Maybe it's harder. So he said, okay. So he took the lean people and made them gain weight. He took the obese people and had them lose weight. Then he gave them the same magical underwear, and there was no difference. So this is baseline. This is after weight loss. We're looking pre and post. No difference pre and post. No difference pre and post. Meaning the obese people who were not moving a lot, they lost weight. They still weren't moving a lot. What does that mean? They're going to then start to gain weight again. The lean people who moved a lot, they gained weight. They still moved a lot, meaning that they were going to start to lose weight again. There's a lot of data that shows that this is biologically ingrained. That does not mean that you can't overcome it. That means that you might have to set a goal to move more. But if you calculate the calorie difference here, that is a difference of about 352 calories a day of just changing posture, just walking. This isn't even exercise calories. We need exercise, but now we're adding to that. So understanding this NEAT component is very important. And too often I will talk to people about weight loss. And what I find happens is they go to the gym and they burn 300 calories, and then they subconsciously do less NEAT throughout the day, such that they do 300 calories less of NEAT. So at the end of the day, it's like they never went to the gym. What needs to happen is you need to think about them as two different components. I'm going to go to the gym or whatever you're doing for your exercise, and I'm going to increase my NEAT. One of the easiest ways to do that is through counting your steps, which is very easy nowadays. Every phone, watch, they have pedometers or accelerometers, and they can count your steps. But that's the best way that you can increase NEAT. And we call that self-monitoring. I'm going to skip a couple of slides here, and I'll come back. I apologize. Here we go. That's called self-monitoring. The American Heart Association recommends 10,000 steps a day. The average American gets 5,000. We know that this relates to BMI. People that get fewer steps have higher BMI and vice versa. We also know that if we look at weight loss, this is looking at a 25-week weight loss intervention just based off steps. Those people that lost 10% of their body weight, those are the people that got more steps. And so now you need to set a goal. We have an exercise goal, but now you have a separate goal that I'm going to hit 10,000 steps a day. That's going to take some planning. You might have to do something like here. This is a handout that's in your book that I copied and pasted here. You have to actually think about it. You're going to say, well, what are some active things I'm going to do? The most popular example is park close to the grocery store. That's one. Or sorry, park farther away so that you can get more steps. But there you have to think of more. Maybe you have to go on a walk at lunch. Maybe you have to walk the dog. Maybe you have to go outside when you get home from work and play with your children. There's so many other things. Maybe if you cut your TV time in half, you've got to come up with these goals. And then you need to say what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, and how long, so you can get your 10,000 steps every day. So you're going to need to set some goals to do that. Now, I skipped one thing I need to go back to before we're done. So another part of this self-monitoring. So self-monitoring is doing just that, what I said with, okay, I'm willing to monitor how many steps I get. I'm going to monitor and log my food. I'm going to monitor my workouts. A lot of good evidence that shows that this aids in weight loss. The other thing, though, that I want to focus on that you need to monitor is your weighing. Do you weigh yourself, and how often? So if you ask the average person, well, how often should I weigh myself? They'll tell you, oh, you should only weigh yourself once a week because body weight fluctuates so much. Yes, that's true. Meaning if you get on the scale on Monday and you weigh 150 pounds, and you get on your scale on Tuesday and you weigh 148, did you lose 2 pounds in one day? Probably not. It could be water weight. It could be holding on to a lot of different things. But what happens as you weigh yourself every day is you are internalizing your goals that you made for yourself. So say you step on the scale on Monday and you weigh 150. You step on the scale on Tuesday and you weigh 150.5. Now, is that real fat? Probably not. But at least it's reinforcing, oh man, okay, I can be a little extra better today. And then you get on your scale on Wednesday, you weigh 149 and you say, yes, I'm doing good. It's motivation to move forward. And so you should weigh yourself every single day. This study showed that those who lost greater than 10% of their body weight, they weighed themselves more often than those that didn't lose as much weight. Here's a literature review on the topic of weighing. And what did they find? This diamond is on the left side of that line, showing those that weighed themselves more often lost more weight. Regular self-weighing in that review is associated with successful weight loss and weight maintenance. The results also suggest that there's no negative psychological effects. Some people might say, well, you're going to turn yourself into a nut job. Not really. I mean, there are those that may struggle with body dysmorphia and things, and they should see a counselor and get some help. But the average person, know that you're going to be fine. It has been shown that those who weigh themselves 7 days a week compared to only 5 keep more weight off. Meaning, let's say it's the weekend and you're thinking, I'm going to relax a little bit. If you weigh yourself every day, it helps you not relax too much. Because if it's Friday night and you're pigging out, and then on Saturday morning you get on the scale and you have increased 3 pounds, even if it's 3 pounds of water, you're more likely on that Saturday to be more physically active and not eat as much junk food. We also know that if self-weighing is stopped, you start to gain weight. And so daily weighing should be incorporated. There's a spot every single day in your daily planner for you to write out what your weight is. And that might be a goal for you to set, that I'm going to weigh myself every morning. That, by the way, you should weigh yourself first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. That way it's consistent. Void your bladder. So first thing in the morning, use the restroom, weigh yourself. That way you're consistent. Okay, so take home message. In addition to engaging in structured exercise, you need to increase NEAT. And I gave you some suggestions to do that. But remember, both of those components need to be addressed. You need to be more active and you need to engage in exercise, 2 different things. Self-monitoring is very effective, and you can do that through step counts and watching what you weigh every day. And I gave you, let's see, we kind of discussed this. So you need to establish a 10,000 step a day goal, and then set ways to do that and set those goals in your planner, and then make a habit of weighing yourself every morning. All right, so that's it for this module, guys. I'll catch you guys for module 9.